Hey, divine ones. So glad you're joining me this week. When you settle in, just take some big deep breaths, get nice and present. Nice and present, nice and in your body, ready to open to any new knowledge that might come your way. Let yourself feel safe and held here. Today, I want to talk about finding balance in structure and flow. Finding balance in it while maintaining a deep and beautiful presence with the moment here and now. I think there's this big sense of urgency or need to do or achieve to feel a certain type of validation or success or enoughness. We've created this society based on consumerism and exchange. And it's taught most of us, especially in the creatives, entrepreneur communities, that in order to receive, you have to do or give. And in order to do or give, it has to look like this many hours of investment or whatever. And we hold ourselves to all of these labels and expectations. And what ends up happening, I've seen this with so many clients, whether they're entrepreneurs, artists, musicians, whatever it is, they find this level of burnout in their creative flow because the feminine energies, the creative, surrendered, life-giving, inspirational energies don't balance out with that masculine, structured, doing, moving, protecting, being, honoring energies. And we find this split or this separation, and then one or the other gets burnt out and the creative flow gets lost. So I want to start this discussion today by first going through a couple of the different ways our energy centers work so that you understand it as we talk about finding that balance in the masculine and feminine flow. The very first thing is in our different energy centers is starting at the root, the bottom, right? The first chakra. And down here in the first chakra is where we find our anchoring into the earth. It's our structure and support as divine beings having this human experience. That first chakra is our structure and support. It's where we anchor into safety, stability. It's where we find the safety in our finances, in our ways of being. It's where we look at our different traditions, the ways that we were brought up, the ways that we give into, that we believe into. I always use the metaphor of a fire when I'm talking about the different chakras or energy centers. And the first chakra is the base of the fire, the base of the fire, the ground, which the wood is set on. It's the platform for it all. Without that ground, we can't build the rest of the fire. So our first chakra, when we're grounded, present here on earth, anchored into all of it, is the foundation of our entire being here in this lifetime. Then we move up to our second energy center, the second chakra, and this is the wood and also the fuel for the fire, right? This is how the fire burns. This is the nurturance. This is where our divine feminine lives. This is how we feel, how we move, how we surrender. It's our creative, sensual, surrendered energy. And it's so beautiful. But without that grounding, without that presence, without that rooted into the earthness, that fuel goes quickly. It doesn't have anything to stand on. And so some people who aren't grounded because they don't feel safe here because maybe they've had trauma, or maybe they're having some scarcity mindset, or maybe they're rooted into beliefs that no longer align with them. Because they don't have that stable grounding, their fuel center, the fire and the gasoline, gets very flimsy. It doesn't have anything to sustain it. And then we move up to our third chakra, and that's the flame of the fire itself. And you can kind of get where I'm going here. If there's no fuel, if there's no wood or gasoline to burn, if there's no foundation to set on, where does our flame go? Our divine masculine that moves forward in this creation, that takes all that beautiful inspiration and fuel and creates something with it, alchemizes all of our emotions into actual creation, substance, tangible form. This is our human will, our ability to have a drive for life, to take action, to do. We have to have that fuel, that nurturance, that inspiration down here, and that really stable ground underneath us. And then that fire, we don't need to go through all of these, but I'll do it really quickly. The fire burns up through the heart chakra, opening us to love, that really deep, high vibrational frequency of oneness, of safety. We can receive from the divine. We can open to connections with others. And when we're open to that love, our heart melts open and it exposes our soul essence here in our throat chakra, allowing us to speak our divine truth without the fear of rejection or labels. But this is our real, authentic truth, our real, authentic expression. Only once we're open to love, still have our fire burning, still full of ourselves, that inspirational energy, still grounded here on the earth. And once we can express that, we're a clear channel for that divine source to come in through the crown, to make sense of it all in our third eye. None of these chakras work without the other one operating at its fullest capacity. And the thing is we get a lot of times so pulled away by the different belief systems of others, the scarcity, the fear, the doubts, that we forget to root and ground into ourselves. And then we leave our divine feminine feeling flimsy, because if she doesn't feel safe, if she's not provided for, if she's not protected, right down in that root chakra, that grounding, that powerful connection to the earth, the anchor, the stability, then she doesn't feel safe to be in that surrendered flow. And if she doesn't feel safe to be in that surrendered flow, then our fire and our divine masculine has nothing to move forward with. There's no fuel for the fire. And this is where I see a lot of people get hung up, is there's so out of balance, and then they try and to create from very little fuel or with very little fire. They get this overflow of inspiration, but then they get lost in all the fluids and can't create a spark, or they are so fire forward, masculine forward, creating that they get depleted and forget to refuel and get burned out. We have to find a balance. And we do that by starting to root into new standards. As a collective, we have been rooted into doing it a certain way. We have our lives structured to build up other people's dreams, where a lot of people are so sunk in to working for survival, right? We see this big cosmic joke of the way that we've created consumerism, and then we're constantly giving our lives away to all of this doing, whether it's working a 9 to 5, or even a lot of entrepreneurs break away from the whole 9 to 5 scene, but then end up investing even more time and energy into creating wealth so that they can consume. And then they lose out on the presence, on being alive, on being here. And then they wonder why they're so miserable, or missing out on raising their kids, or missing out on the travel they wanted. What we have to do is we have to start from the bottom up. What beliefs, first chakra, am I rooted into? Am I rooted into the idea that I have to work hard every single day to survive? Am I rooted into the idea that in order to create wealth, I have to be working, working, working? Am I rooted into the idea that it's a dog eat dog world out there? Am I rooted into the idea that money doesn't grow on trees, that I can't create divine miracles? What am I rooted into? And it's by first going into those different core beliefs, that first chakra. What am I anchored into? And reprogramming those. Well, I believe that I can work 2 to 4 hours a day, and create a lifestyle where I can be present with my family, where I can be present for the things I love, where I can travel and enjoy being alive. I can enjoy being and not constantly doing, right? It's whatever you decide to be rooted into. And it's from that that we move up into the feeling center. It's from that anchored structure that the divine feminine gets to blossom. And she gets these really beautiful creative inspirations and ideas. But what ends up happening is a lot of people get this little nudge. Hey, start your own business. And they're like, okay, that would be really cool. Maybe I could step away from this belief system and I could start working. But then what happens is all of these old fears come in. No, you'll fail. No, that's stupid. No, you won't create the right amount of safety for yourself, whatever it might be. And then you shut it down and you go back to that old way of being, and the divine feminine gets deflated, and that spark in your third goes down because there's not fuel. And it's this repeating cycle. And finding the flow between masculine and feminine, where I see a lot of people have a hard time, is in that moving forward in a disciplined way. It's getting those beautiful inspirational ideas and then moving forward with them. I think especially in the whole new age movement, there's this idea that if I sit here and simply feel it and dream of it, it will happen. But we're here, divine cosmic beings in a human experience, so we can learn how to create our own reality. And to create it means investing in it through, yes, the feeling and the imagining and the being, but also in the action. It just doesn't have to look like what you think it looks like. It doesn't have to be this hard, grinded out, hustle, constantly doing mentality. There's a great amount of rest, just like in yoga, right? Savasana for me is one of the most powerful movements. It takes everything that I've been doing for that entire class, and it's laying down in the rest and letting it all be integrated into my body. It's finding that flow. So can you take that creative feminine inspiration and you take an action towards it, right? And it doesn't have to be this crazy intense action. It can be one tiny baby step every single day as you build your muscle. But the divine masculine creates the structure for you to move forward in it, so you feel safe, so you feel an entrance into this energy, and you also have an exit, so that you can come forward with this beautiful creative passion. You can go forward and moving, but you also know at the end you're going to get to rest and play and be for a little while. But it starts with decoding and reprogramming these past core beliefs and ideas about yourself and about the world. We're moving into a huge shift collectively. I know if you're tuned in, you can feel it in your body. There's been an intense purging of all the shadows, of all the beliefs that no longer serve you. And it's left a lot of people super rocked to their core, because it's a hard thing to wake up and realize that everything you've built your life for wasn't in alignment with your soul. And I want to tell you today that it's okay wherever you're at, no matter your age, no matter your circumstance, no matter your abilities. You can create anew by going back into these core beliefs. Creating core beliefs, and I'm saying beliefs, I'm not saying ideas, I'm not saying thoughts, I'm saying beliefs. The deep inner part of you, the subconscious mind that has been there since childhood, that really truly believes something, you can reprogram those and start living your life in alignment with them by following through on the inspiration that comes and then taking action on that inspiration and returning again to rest. It's a beautiful dance. There were so many years, especially when I was getting my master's degree, when I was serving as an administrator over schools, like there were so many times I didn't know how to find a balance between meeting my kids' needs, meeting my own needs, meeting all my students' needs. It was a lot, and I was exhausted and I was depleted, and I didn't understand the meaning of life. I didn't understand why we were all here. There was no joy or experience and the beauty and the presence of it all. And that's what we're trying to get back to here with this new earth frequency, is a deep presence, a resonance with each other, community and connection, being fully alive and engaged and not constantly just trying to survive or meet the next achievement. But you have to be willing to do things differently, not just dream about them, but really step out. For me, it took walking away from a career as a 24-year-old who had a really great high paying salary. I had to say, as an only parent, I'm going to say no to this and I'm going to create something that feels more in alignment, because I truly felt like it was killing me. I couldn't find the energy that I needed to meet every need that the external world had of me. And it was in taking that leap of faith, and I dove fully in, what brought me joy, what brought me excitement, what brought me passion. And it was in following that and in heart-centered service that I was able to create the life I have now for me and my kids. And it was scary and it was hard and it did require great change and an ability to step away from everything that I was taught, everything that I thought I knew. That's the scariest part of this whole journey, is there is no rule book. Sure, there are people like me and other spiritual entrepreneurs and leaders out there that you can look at for wisdom and advice, but we all have our own unique soul truth. It's connected to this beautiful, expanded collective conscious, which is why you're all feeling the shift in your bodies right now. You're being called to something new. You're being called to a new way of being, and it's up to you to be able to rise to the occasion and create radical change through self-devotion and discipline, and also a deep, surrendered, honoring, compassion, and love. It can be filled with grace and it can be filled with joy. And you also have to choose it. And so I'm here today to ask you to not only start to question these beliefs down in that first chakra. What standards am I conforming to? What beliefs am I conforming to that don't feel in alignment with my soul truth? What creative inspiration comes through as I nurture and care for myself? And how can I take heart-centered action to move that forward? It doesn't have to be a big thing. It can be one tiny baby step a day. If you're inspired to write a book, today let the only thing you do be opening a Google Doc and writing my book, and then you close it and you're done. You took an inspired action. Congratulations. You did something new. Maybe it's stepping away and finding a balance. So today, spend an extra 10 minutes of deep quality present time with yourself or your kids or a dear friend, or whatever that looks like for you to find that present, mindful, connected balance. Take an extra 10 minutes out of your day and then you're done. You took one mindful action. And we build on that every single day. Maybe tomorrow, if you're the one choosing to write a book, you write the first sentence down and then you close it. And that's it. You're done. You did it. It doesn't have to be something huge and life-changing. It creates this ripple inside of you, and your divine feminine starts to trust that you're going to meet her needs. And through that deepening inspiration, your divine masculine moves forward every day a little bit more, regaining his strength, his ability to move out into the world without letting all the fears and the external energies impact him. It's through this creative, beautiful flow and dance that you can create a whole new life for yourself. So breathe into it. This week, the meditation I produce will be largely about connecting to that soul essence, to tuning into what your soul's highest purpose is, what your soul truth is, your unique soul truth, and allowing that to create inspiration within you. So look out for that. It'll come out this Sunday. And today, just allow yourself to start questioning the different core beliefs that you have been anchored into. And and start creating some inspirational spaciousness and aligned action for something new. I'm so proud of you for being here, for opening up to this information, for allowing yourself to be penetrated by this energy of change, of transformation, of shifting into a different level of consciousness and being at peace with yourself. This life is meant to be enjoyed, every single moment of it. It's meant to be enjoyed and invested in things that you love, that bring you joy, that bring you happiness, that deepen our connections with one another. So give yourself permission to do that. As always, breathe deep, plan on miracles. I love you.